Podcasts are hot right now. How do I know? Well, you're listening to one right now, aren't you? But you might be wondering, how on earth do I get my voice out there and start my own podcast? It all seems so intimidating. Between hosting and platforms and monetization, it can get real complicated real quick. Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We started this podcast over 2 years ago, not knowing clue one on how to do it. So how do we do it? We did it with Anchor. Anchor is the free podcast app with creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on all the platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. And everybody likes money, right? Well, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So go right now, download the free Anchor app, or go to Anchor FM to get started. It's the eCommerce Minute, your daily dose of e-commerce, tech, and retail news with your host, John Suder, Bart, Mroz, and Brittany Blackman. The eCommerce Minute is a production of SUMO Heavy, a digital commerce consulting firm located in Brooklyn, New York, and Philadelphia. Find us on the web at sumoheavy.com. It's the eCommerce Minute, episode 668.
In today's episode, eBay introduces image cleanup tool.
Fellow eBay sellers are well aware that listing your items can sometimes be a nightmare. For one thing, it's pretty imperative that you get a good photo of the product you're listing, and that in itself is sometimes a production. Is the lighting good? Are my dirty gym socks in the background? Is it accurate to the product? It's a lot. But eBay has just introduced a tool to help its sellers. eBay has introduced Image Cleanup, a computer vision tool that removes the background of a seller's listing photo and replaces it with a white background. The feature aims to optimize listings for Google Shopping, and it's currently available in the US, UK, Germany, and Australia. The new feature will also be rolled out in other regions in the next month. Image Cleanup's algorithm processes the photo on users' mobile phones to remove the foreground from the background clutter and change the background to white. eBay says the feature is aimed at small businesses and individual sellers who may not have a budget for a professional photographer. If the algorithm can easily distinguish between the foreground and the item, then users can either use the algorithm-generated image or edit the photos themselves. It's now also possible to touch up missing areas. You can also use the photo as is if you're happy with it. The inclusion of Image Cleanup tool is one of the most recent additions eBay has added to its platform in the last year. The e-commerce marketplace added Google Pay as a payment option last March. In June, the site unveiled AI personalization tools to help shoppers find items that aligned with their shopping habits. Well, okay, I'll give you my point of view on this, and then you guys can say your piece on this one. I think this is about time for eBay. My only concern with this, I actually tried this after we wrote this script. It works pretty well. This isn't really Disney magic. This is actually a pretty common tool that's out there now of removing backgrounds, which used to be back in the olden days, graphic designers raise your hand. Cropping a background out of any kind of photo used to be a real painful process. And now, due to computer learning, it's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But the problem with the image cleanup is you have to do this on your phone. And when in the article it states you can clean up the image itself by using your little finger, well, if you got chubby fingers or a tiny phone, that can be kind of painful. That being said, I think it's light years ahead of where eBay used to be in terms of their photo management. I know, Brittany, you and I had a conversation about this before, how eBay looks like a Frankenstein website of like, here's a page from 2005, and then here's a brand new page that they designed recently, and it's
right.
I don't know.
Very scary and inconsistent, and it makes you like, what am I buying?
What am I buying? I'm trying to list something, and I've been using eBay. I always say this on the podcast, like I'm an old school eBay user, and there's sometimes I'm like, I don't even know how to like find a piece of information, because you navigate to a page and then it takes you to a page that literally was designed 15 years ago. Very strange, very strange.
I just think like when somebody, I mean, I know this is targeted sort of for small businesses, but like I feel like an individual seller or something, I like when it's like on top of something, because you kind of can tell what it is.
That's a good point. I know a lot of sellers do. If they're selling something and they're not sure of the scale, they'll place a quarter or something there. But then they get a lot of comments that say, "Hey man, I know you're selling a controller. Is the quarter included?"
That's just stupid.
That's silly, right? But no, I get that. And I think it adds some authenticity. I think it's going to take a lot of the authenticity away from eBay. But we've had many conversations as to what does eBay want to be when it grows up. It's trying to be that place where everything is brand new like Amazon, but yet still has that auction thing clamped on there. I think there's a lot of competition with eBay now. There's a lot of other different ways to get rid of your quote-unquote junk. Craigslist seems to be the best way if you don't mind talking to strangers and meeting strangers in weird places, because it's absolutely free. The eBay fees And the shipping and all that other kind of stuff makes it real cost prohibitive to just even get rid of just basic junk. And not everyone can spend a Saturday afternoon putting a card table out at their local church to do a flea market. So the thing in between, you have, Let Go, we have Craigslist. What are the other ones, Bart? I know there's a bunch of other ones out there. But
yeah, I mean, Facebook does its thing. There's a whole bunch of them now.
Facebook, oh my God, the stuff you see on Facebook. It's there's a lot of actually funny groups of like the stuff we found on Craigslist and Facebook, and it's like people just selling the craziest things. And I think half of it's a joke. So I don't know, buyer beware. I don't know where the sweet spot is anymore, but eBay is still, I mean, they're still trying to do the auction thing. They make a ton of money from it, but what they're trying to be is they're trying to be that marketplace like Amazon, and they have a long way to go to get there.
At least small sellers that don't have the access to like better editing tools have this built in now.
No, I totally agree with that. There are some people who are still making a go of it and still people making a living on eBay. They're still out there, believe it or not. And I think, the thing with eBay, you used to be able to, you could get away with a lot more on eBay because not everyone had high-speed internet. Not everybody had a smart, you couldn't even look at it on your phone. You'd had to go. I mean, there was days where they'd be like, the eBay gurus, and I hate that word, but the eBay gurus was like, you must have your listings launch on Sunday night because that's when everyone is sitting in front of their computers. That's when people are shopping online, Sunday night when they have some downtime and they're looking on their computers.
Well, I mean, that's why it's called Cyber Monday.
Right. It's like all that really, really has gone out the window. And I think eBay's, again, been trying to evolve with that. But there's still that base on there that it's like, it truly is a wonderland. Yeah, Etsy's even becoming that way. Like Etsy now, you can find a lot of wholesale stuff, a lot of really weird stuff. If you're good at digging and searching, and if you know what you're looking for, eBay is still kind of the place to go. For sellers, Brittany is correct. Giving them better tools to put up better product photos that makes the sellers money and makes eBay money, so everybody wins in the end. We're going to close this one with a little stat time. eBay has more than 180 million shoppers globally who spend about $100 billion annually on the marketplace. Amazon's global e-commerce sales this year will be more than $340 billion, and that's according to eMarketer Incorporated. So they're still 3 times as big. I remember back in the olden days when eBay's market cap was bigger than Amazon. Brittany, you were probably just a young child. It wasn't that long ago, actually. eBay started out as an online auction site, but now 80% of its 1.1 billion listed items are now new. How about that? All right, you guys get anything else?
Nope.
All right,
that's it.
That's your e-commerce minute for today. We'll see you on the internet tomorrow. That's it for today's show. If you like the show, do us a favor and subscribe or leave us a review on iTunes. And don't forget, you can now listen to the e-commerce minute on your Amazon device. Just add e-commerce minute to your flash briefing. And finally, if you have a comment or suggestion or just want to say hi, find us on social media at SUMO Heavy.